Hello, everyone, and thanks so much for tuning in. Today, we've got Donald Trump, snack brand recalls, and Chinese spies. Oh, my. All the latest from the United States and around the world coming up. But first, a look at the latest headlines. Hungary's Prime Minister Viktor Orban pushes for a Russia-Ukraine ceasefire by Christmas. The Hungarian leader says he will meet Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky to discuss the plan. The death toll from a cyclone in Mozambique rises to 45 with over 500 injured. The storm struck the southern African nation after battering the French island of Mayotte earlier this week. Indonesia's President Prabowo Subianto announces a plan to pardon thousands of people who have engaged in graft and corruption if they return what they stole. Subianto aims to pardon 44,000 inmates, or about 30% of the country's total prison population. The U.S. Federal Aviation Administration reports a 269% spike in people pointing lasers at airplanes flying overhead after the sightings of flying objects in New Jersey. Pointing lasers at aircraft is both illegal and dangerous. And tech giant Apple is in talks with Chinese firm Tencent and TikTok's parent company ByteDance to integrate their AI models into iPhones sold in China. This as China continues to ban OpenAI's ChatGPT, which is already a part of iPhones worldwide. We begin in the United States, where hundreds of migrants carried out a protest march along the U.S.-Mexico border to mark International Migrants Day. The migrants protested against the United States shutting down its border with Mexico and increasing border patrols along the U.S. southern border. The immigrants urged incoming President Donald Trump to be more compassionate and mindful towards thousands of people seeking a better life in the United States.
December
18th, 2024 marks International Migrant Day. While it might seem like a celebration, it's actually a commemoration of migrants seeking better opportunities abroad. In Tijuana, near the U.S. border, we highlight these issues to urge the current and incoming U.S. government to be more sensitive to the needs of communities migrating due to severe problems in their home countries.
We ask Donald Trump, who is about to take office, to have compassion for everyone, not just for Mexicans, as he claims to dislike them. But we are all human beings.
Meanwhile, during the protest, rumors circulated that the border had been open for 24 hours to mark the International Migrants Day. Now, following the rumor, hundreds of migrants ran towards the border before they were stopped by U.S. Border Patrol. Agents deployed helicopters and troops in riot gear to disperse the incoming group of migrants. Eventually, the Border Patrol guards fired tear gas to deter the people from advancing further.
Today, we heard they would open the border on December 18th. Many of us are here because the situation in our countries forces us to come here. I am being persecuted for disagreeing with the dictatorship, and I had to migrate. I am one of many migrants.
We found that the helicopter was throwing down this dust that suffocated us, and the soldiers started firing tear gas to stop us from crossing.
Now, despite the brief clashes between migrants and agents, protests continued on the border. Meanwhile, thousands of migrants have formed a new caravan and are heading towards the United States before Donald Trump takes the oath of office on January 20th.
First of all, human mobility is not going to cease. People are not going to stop walking and advancing towards the United States, no matter who the president is. The problem is there is no civilized agreement between the parties, between the government of Claudia Sheinbaum and the U.S. government. Donald Trump appointing a former CIA agent as U.S. ambassador to Mexico represents several things for the Mexican government.
Now the panic among migrants has increased since Donald Trump named former ICE Director Tom Homan as the new border czar in the upcoming administration. In a recent interview with CNN, Homan doubled down on his plans for mass deportations and said he needs at least 100,000 beds for mass deportations, which is more than double the 40,000 beds ICE is currently funded for. As the inauguration fast approaches, Donald Trump's anti-migrant rhetoric is forcing hundreds of asylum seekers to make a desperate dash for the border before he takes office. Continuing in the United States, 2 years after a secret Chinese police station in Manhattan's Chinatown was exposed, a 60-year-old New York man has now pleaded guilty to conspiring to act as an unregistered foreign agent for the Chinese government. Now, according to federal authorities, the outpost above a ramen stall offered basic services like renewing driver's licenses for Chinese nationals. But it also helped Beijing identify pro-democracy activists in the United States. While Beijing denies the allegations, claiming the site only provided administrative services, Washington sees this as a violation of its sovereignty. Here are more details in our next report.
Tensions between the United States and China have entered new territory. And at the heart of the latest conflict is a secret Chinese police station hidden in the bustling streets of Manhattan's Chinatown. On Wednesday, 61-year-old Chen Jinping admitted in federal court to conspiring to act as an unregistered foreign agent for Beijing. The station, disguised as a community organization, operated above a ramen shop, opened in early 2022 and served two faces, one public, one covert.
Most people, they immigrate to the United States here. They just want a better life for themselves. They don't get involved in this politics stuff. I mean, I don't get myself involved between the ROC and the PRC thing. Yeah, there are some people who do, and most people just ignore that stuff. I mean, you haven't done anything bad, but you have nothing to worry about. It's the saying.
On the surface, it assisted Chinese citizens with mundane tasks like driver's license renewals. But behind the scenes, federal prosecutors say it spied on pro-democracy activists and worked to silence critics of China's Communist Party.
Today's guilty plea holds the defendant accountable for his brazen efforts to operate an undeclared overseas police station on behalf of the PRC's National Police Force. A clear affront to American sovereignty and danger to our community that will not be tolerated.
Chen's admission of guilt revealed chilling details. After 2 years of trials, he confessed to removing online articles about the station under Beijing's direction. He also destroyed messages with Chinese officials when U.S. authorities launched their investigation. Chen now faces up to 5 years in prison, with sentencing set for May 30th, 2025.
Today's acknowledgement of guilt is a stark reminder of the insidious efforts taken by the PRC government to threaten, harass, and intimidate those who speak against their Communist Party. These blatant violations will not be tolerated on U.S. soil. The FBI remains committed to preserving the rights and freedoms of all people in our country and will defend against transnational repression at every front.
But that's not all. During the confession, Chen admitted he wasn't acting alone. His co-defendant, Lu Jiangwang, has denied similar charges and awaits trial. The U.S. officials are treating the case as a wake-up call, with law enforcement officials supporting the arrests.
We need to make it very clear diplomatically to the Chinese, essentially, lack of a better term, we need to tell them to knock it off. The Europeans need to do the same thing. These kind of malign activities, if goes without punished, then we will see bigger issues. I think that we're on the right track. And this also gives a confidence to those who are willing to risk their lives and well-beings to speak their mind or do their jobs, fulfill their professional obligation.
According to human rights groups, the Chinatown station is just the tip of the iceberg. Reports suggest China operates over 100 such outposts worldwide, spread across 53 countries. While Beijing claims these are mere service stations run by volunteers, critics argue they are tools for surveillance and intimidation.
The Beijing will deny, Beijing will accuse, Beijing even tried to play racism card or play whataboutism, as they often do. They will start name calling. They may even start announcing additional sanctions. In some instances, individuals have been sanctioned more than once. That's what they do. So we need to care less about what they say, what they respond. We need to keep doing the right thing, which is to hold those bad actors to account.
The case underscores the escalating strain in US-China relations. As the Justice Department ramps up investigations into foreign interference, the spotlight grows on China's overseas influence campaigns. And a worrying question looms. What other hidden operations could still be lurking in plain sight?
And moving to Europe, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is in Brussels to gain more support from his European allies in the fight against Russia. President Zelensky met French President Emmanuel Macron, and the two leaders discussed deploying French troops in Ukraine to bring peace to the war-torn country.
I had a productive meeting with French President Emmanuel Macron. I expressed gratitude for France's preparation of one brigade for our army, and we agreed to continue this cooperation and prepare one more brigade. We hope other partners will join this effort by contributing to equipping additional Ukrainian brigades. We share a common vision. Reliable guarantees are essential for a peace that can truly be achieved. We continued working on President Macron's initiative regarding the presence of forces in Ukraine that could contribute to stabilizing the path to peace. Emmanuel informed about his communication with other partners aimed at ensuring all necessary steps are taken for peace.
Now, this possibility of deploying foreign peacekeeping troops in Ukraine was first raised by President Macron back in February. Since then, the Ukrainian president has been trying to convince NATO countries to send their troops until Kyiv joins the alliance. Earlier this month, Zelensky publicly floated this idea during a meeting with Germany's leadership.
Frankly, we can discuss and work with Emmanuel's proposal. Do you remember? He proposed that troops of one or another country could have a presence on certain Ukrainian territories, which would guarantee us security while Ukraine is not in NATO. But we need to have a clear understanding when exactly Ukraine will join the European Union and when Ukraine will be in NATO.
Ukraine's president also discussed the possibility with Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk during the European leader's surprise visit to Ukraine.
Ukraine has always been able to count on Polish support when it comes to NATO membership. Nothing has changed in this regard. If it were up to Poland, it wouldn't take more than one day. But you can count on our diplomacy and our actions here. We will do everything we can to make the prospect of NATO membership for Ukraine ever closer. We are aware it's not an easy path.
Now, even though some European leaders support the idea of sending NATO troops to Ukraine, no consensus has in fact been reached on the matter, fearing it would dramatically escalate the war. In fact, Germany has firmly rejected the possibility, saying the idea is premature and it does not make sense at this stage. British Foreign Minister David Lammy goes on to say Russian leader Vladimir Putin will not like the idea of foreign troops in Ukraine.
Putin is showing no signs of ending this merciless, aggressive war that's causing bloodshed, hardship and pain across Ukraine, and of course for the whole of Europe as we deal with the spectre of his new imperialism and aggression. We meet today with the Secretary General of NATO and of course Zelensky and close European allies to discuss what further support we give to Zelensky, what further military support, what further finances are necessary to put Ukraine in the strongest possible position as we head in and through 2025.
And even if European nations reach a consensus, it is highly unlikely that Ukraine's biggest ally, the United States, would agree to such a demand. In a matter of weeks, Donald Trump will return to the White House, and he's made it clear that he will end the war within a day of taking office, most likely by halting military aid to Kyiv, forcing it to cede some territory and crushing President Zelensky's dream of joining NATO. Of course, given the fact that Ukraine will have received nearly a $30 billion military aid package by that time, it's highly unlikely President Zelensky will go along with Donald Trump's plans. And now moving to the Middle East, the Israeli military launched precision airstrikes on Houthi targets in Yemen on Thursday. The attack came hours after the Iranian proxy group claimed to have launched 2 ballistic missiles at Israel. The Israeli bombing killed at least 9 people in Yemen and crippled 3 crucial seaports. The strikes also damaged Yemen's main oil facility and targeted 2 power stations in the capital city of Sana'a. The Israeli Defense Forces said the strikes were conducted in response to Houthi missiles and drone attacks over the past year.
The IDF conducted precise strikes on Houthi military targets in Yemen, including ports and energy infrastructures in Sana'a, which the Houthis have been using in ways that effectively contributed to their military actions. Israel will not hesitate to act in order to defend itself and its citizens from the Houthis' attacks.
Meanwhile, sirens blared over central Israel as the missiles fired from Yemen were intercepted. Now the debris of a missile fell on a neighborhood in Tel Aviv, causing a school building to collapse. The Houthis have in fact intensified their attacks on Israel this week after they launched a ballistic missile at Tel Aviv on Monday. The missile was codenamed Palestine 2 in solidarity with Palestinians in Gaza, but was intercepted by the Israeli military.
The Houthi armed forces continue to carry out military operations and strike all targets belonging to the Israeli enemy in the occupied territories. And these operations will not stop until the aggression against Gaza is halted and the blockade lifted.
Meanwhile, the United States is concerned that the Houthis will continue to attack Israel with the support of Iran, even if the war in Gaza is over.
The rise of the Houthis, the capacity they've developed, fully supported by Iran, has gotten them to a place where they have assets that have built up that they have not been shy about using and continue to use. Now, they've tied what they're doing to Gaza. My concern, I think our shared concern, is that even when we get to the point where the conflict in Gaza is over, the war in Gaza is over, they may well continue because they put themselves on the world stage.
Now, tensions between the Houthis and Israel have escalated for months. In fact, back in July, the Yemen-based group launched a deadly drone attack at Tel Aviv, and in September, they fired a missile deep into Israel. Earlier this month, the Iran-backed group claimed responsibility for another drone strike on central Israel. Meanwhile, Israel and the United States have struck Houthi targets multiple times in retaliation over the past year, including consecutive nights of airstrikes just last month. And there's something about the irresistible crunch of potato chips that make them a universal favorite. Among the myriad of options, Lay's classic potato chips have carved out a loyal fan base, becoming synonymous with snack time bliss. But a recent recall of the Lay's chips in the states of Oregon and Washington has hit consumers over concerns of the chips containing allergens. As undeclared dairy content causes concern, this story unveils what's at stake and the safety of the snack for consumption. Here's our final report with more.
Potato chips are a universal snack time favorite. Whether it's a football party or a holiday gathering, you can always count on chips to make an appearance. Among the top contenders in the snack industry, Lay's stands out as a leader. Known for their iconic crunch and range of flavors, Lay's classic potato chips are a staple in many households. However, a recent recall from Frito-Lay has left chip lovers on alert. On December 16th, Frito-Lay issued a recall for certain 13-ounce bags of Lay's classic potato chips. The reason? Undeclared milk was found in some batches. This poses a serious health risk to people with dairy allergies or sensitivities. However, thankfully, no allergic reactions have been reported so far. The affected chips were sold in the states of Oregon and Washington as early as November 3rd. They have a guaranteed fresh date of February 11, 2025, and including 2 manufacturing codes. This recall came to light after a consumer flagged the issue. Frito-Lay promptly informed the U.S. Food and Drug Administration and initiated the voluntary recall. While only a limited number of bags are affected, The warning is significant. Milk is one of the top allergens responsible for food recalls. According to the FDA, milk recalls often stem from undeclared ingredients in snack foods, bakery items, and dairy products. Being the most common, milk allergies are a common concern, especially for children. Symptoms range from mild, like hives or vomiting, to severe reactions such as anaphylaxis, where the body has respiratory issues and goes into shock. The Mayo Clinic warns that such allergic reactions can be life-threatening, and immediate medical attention is critical in cases of severe symptoms. This isn't the first time that Lay's chips have been recalled over undeclared milk. In May 2023, Frito-Lay recalled several bags of Lay's classic party-sized potato chips due to contamination with milk ingredients from sour cream and onion chips. While it's unclear if the current recall stems from a similar issue, the potential for cross-contamination in manufacturing processes is a likely cause. Though Lay's chips are a beloved snack, this incident highlights the importance of food safety, and the recall serves as a stark reminder for consumers to stay vigilant about potential allergens in their favorite treats.
That's the show for today. We certainly thank you for tuning in. We hope to see you right back here again tomorrow. Thanks everyone for watching. Donald Trump's return to the Oval Office is imminent. He will soon take the oath of office and once again lead the nation.
God spared my life for a reason.
President-elect Donald Trump's first priority tackling illegal immigration and securing the nation's borders.
We're going to fix our borders.
The incoming administration has prioritized the Russia-Ukraine war. Can they succeed in ending